Yay. All right, give me a second to fix this. I'm gonna take a quick second to tweak my lighting because it's crazy. And then we will get started. All right. It's funny, these lighting systems, they come with a bunch of modes, but they only come with like very basic directions. So your best guess. Let's see. You have to guess which button does what. All right. There we go. Let's see if that's better. Better, better, better. Love it. Okay, let me pull up Discord. Let's see. Q&A. Okay. Sleep token is the first question. It's a band, I think, right? Okay, let's see. This says this person is a semester, almost a semester graduate. You guys are about to graduate, and I'm so proud of you. Oh my gosh, we have two formal classes left before graduation. I'm so excited. This person's almost a semester grad, currently in semester, and they say, how do we feel about Sleep Token, listening to their music, wearing their merch with their symbol that represents the deity Sleep? The band lore states, I love bands that have lore like this. Sleep once held immense power, bestowing dreams and nightmares upon ancient civilizations, and continues to influence the subconscious. Some fans see this as a marketing gimmick to remain anonymous. I didn't know they were anonymous. That's crazy. Create mystery, avoid interviews, etc. Others see it as an artistic metaphor for their art, a song as a worship or token of their art form. Huh. Spirit hijacked my Spotify twice, leading me to discover Sleep Token because I was stubborn and because I asked truly because of the symbol. So I love this question. Before I get started, I'm going to open this so that we don't have loud noises throughout Q&A today. Um, I will say that ultimately, does it matter? From an energetic perspective, it doesn't really matter whether or not you believe in the deity, whether or not everyone believes in the deity. There's something that's called an egregore. We haven't talked about this in semester, but an egregore is basically like, not exactly, but basically like an entity that is created, a thought form that is created and shared by a bunch of people. So it's fed by a bunch of people. If there's a huge political agenda, that can have an egregore. If there is a huge fan base, you guys know that I love Youngblood, right? Youngblood is a British artist who's in his late 20s, and he's got a huge following right now. He's kind of picking up the torch that Ozzy Osbourne left, and so he has a huge following. He has an egregore. So this band, Sleep Token, I still don't know if it's a band or a person. It's a band, but I don't know if it's multiple people or a person. Either way, um, they have an egregore, and they have an egregore enough that whether or not it's marketing, like whether or not enough people have spent enough time buying into this that it starts to become its own thing, kind of like the Necronomicon, right? Like people who know what the Necronomicon is, that came from literature, like that's H.P. Lovecraft, that's fiction based. Is it rooted in real things? Yes, but it's fiction based. And so everybody hears the Necronomicon and thinks that it's a book, chapter, verse for spell work. No. But because so many people have fed into it, do things on the Necronomicon work? Yeah, right? It's also based in tiny bits of reality, but not complete, right? But because people have added information and energy and attention to it, the efficacy grows. And that's the same thing with this. So whether or not sleep is the deity, whether or not you follow sleep, whether or not you love sleep token, hate sleep token, and you're watching this, that's kind of a moot point, right? The question is, how do we feel about them? That's a personal question. I don't listen to them because I don't, not because I have a reason. Like I haven't listened to them. Actually, I was meaning to listen to them because I saw this pop in the other day and didn't get to. So they might be awesome. I don't know. Um, I guess that's helping me be impartial. But as far as a band that adopts an emblem that they ascribe all these things to, whether or not that's rooted in mythology or in marketing, can it attract attention? Yes. Can spirits speak through that? Yes. Can magical things happen with that? Yes. This is the same thing kind of as a business's logo. If as a witch, let's just say I want to hex um the chicken company. I'm not going to say an actual company, those of y'all that are waiting. Let's say I'm going to hex the chicken company, okay? If I decide that I'm going to do that, I can go print their logo off the internet and put their logo in a spell jar, in a sour jar, or bury it, or pee on it, or do a ton of things with it. If I wanted to hex them, right? If we're going the baneful route, if I wanted to bless someone's business, you have a bestie, she's starting a new business, she's doing drop shipping on Amazon. She's got a new social. Take a screenshot of her social media, her social media page, put her in a honey jar, and draw attention to her using her business's social media as a magnet, right? Using that logo as a magnet, using that company name as a magnet. So for good or bad. So if you have a band that's going to adopt this aesthetic, for lack of a better word, brand, for lack of a better word, whether or not there's actual energy attached from like a before the band created it perspective, I'm not familiar with the deity of sleep. I'm familiar with a lot of deities that represent sleep and sleep ideas, rest and sleep ideas. Um, so I don't know. I'm not going to say yes or no. I have to dig into that more. I just don't know enough to have an opinion on that. But I will tell you that enough people, I know who this band is because I've heard of them, like in passing. Enough people know who that is and not, or who they are and have added energy into it that even if it didn't exist before the band, it exists now and it's a thing. So if the band is smart, they can use that to create good energy, right? They can put their own emblem into spell work, into creativity, into merch, right? That's what they're doing by putting their emblem on merch, right? You guys realize that, right? Like that's what branding is. They're putting their emblem, their sigil that represents their brand onto things that you then adopt. That's why I don't wear branded things. And the branded things that I do wear are from fictional shows that I love. Okay? That's why I'm not big on brands. Okay? That's what you're doing when you adopt it. Now, if you do it consciously, tattoos, etc., that's cool. But it's when we have unconscious things, or maybe if we just love the merch. We love the sleep token merch, and so we end up loving maybe the brand but not understanding the energetics behind it, and then all of a sudden shit shows up. Like there's something right here in my room right now. That's funny. Things show up, right? And you're like, what the fuck do I do with that? What do I do with that? So good to know what you're taking part in if you're adopting a band's merch, whatever band. And as far as how we feel about Sleep Token, I think marketing wise, that's fucking brilliant. I love that. And as far as energy wise, tap into it. You're a powerful witch. Tap into it and see what you feel, or do automatic writing on it. You know how to do those things because you've practiced them. But yeah, that's what I would say for that. Good question. Good question. Good question. Okay, so let's go back. Closing circles. This person is a semester, almost a semester grad. When doing a spell, of course, I cleanse first, then gather my spell ingredients, but don't open my circle until I'm ready. During that time, I light my candle. After, do I close my circle right after the spell or after my candle has gone out? Okay, hold on. I'm going to read this again just to make sure I understand. I'm doing a spell. Of course, I cleanse first and then I gather my spell ingredients, but I don't open my circle. You don't cast your circle until you're ready to cast. During that time, I light my candle. After, do I close my circle right after the spell or after my candle has gone out? Okay, got you. So this is a matter of whether or not your candle is there for protection or if it's part of your spell. I don't know what spell you're talking about, so we'll talk about it both ways. If you are working candle magic, you're lighting, I have a tiny St. Anthony candle that I needed because I lost my vape, you guys. I'm so sad. So, if you have a tiny candle and it's part of your spell, or maybe it's not tiny, but it's part of your spell, you want to let this burn, or if you can't sit with it the whole time, snuff it. Remember, don't blow it out. You want to have that um, as completed as possible or tied in a bow before you open your circle, before, or what you're saying is close your circle before you undo it, right? If you cast a circle to do spell work inside, when you're done with your spell work, you're going to remove that circle, right? Open the circle back up. So if you have a candle that's part of your spell work, let that candle elapse or wrap it in a bow by snuffing it and close your energy and wind down that session of spell work. Okay. If you have lit this candle as part of your space clearing before you cast, you can close your or open, however you want to say it, close your circle, undo your circle after you're done with your working and you're moving counterclockwise to take away your protections for spell work, which I would call opening your circle, right? Uncasting a circle or casting water shins, which is backwards, counterclockwise to the left, saying it a bunch of different ways so it'll cement. When you are casting that way at the end after spell work, if your candle is for protection, undo your circle and then blow out your candle, or not, don't blow out. Do not blow out. Snuff your candle of protection or let it burn out. Um, that's what I would say. It depends on if your candle is part of your spell or not, or if it's set up as part of your space clearing. Depends on your intention for your candle and what you wanted. But two different ways of handling it because I'm not sure what candle you're talking about. Good question. This next one. Okay, this next one I have to be a little bit cryptic about because this person asked, this for context is going to be really important here. This person is a council grad. Council is our baneful program. If you are watching and you have not taken council, you need to take semester first. Semester is our 12-week foundation program at Haven, and you have to take and pass semester to take council. So this person graduate has council in the bag and is graduating semester because they were in the first round of council when I didn't have semester as a prerequisite. And I learned that we need to require it. So they're about to have both of those checked off. I'm telling you that because I've been working with this person since April, May, I think, somewhere in there. It's been a long time. No, it's March. I started council prep in March, so it's been a long time. Um, So I'm going to go a little bit deeper with this question than I normally would with someone because I know who asked it. And also, I need to preface before I tell you what the question is. I need to preface this because this is a cultural question. It's a question based on the culture that I am adjacent to but not part of. Okay. So I am not speaking on this from a point of view of someone from that culture, and I need to make that really clear. I'm speaking from someone who is a a hmm, significant asset in the paranormal and parapsychological realms. I'll say it that way. I've seen a lot of shit I've seen a lot of shit. I'm a force to be reckoned with in the ether. That means that I've dealt with some things that are pretty unsavory. I've seen some things that are I can't talk about on YouTube because we'll get banned, right? Like that's part of the game. When you do the work that I do, sometimes you have to deal with seeing things that aren't great, hearing things that aren't great, encountering things that aren't great. And that's why I'm the witch that teaches counsel, because I've had experiences having to deal with the things that this question is talking about. However, I'm only speaking from that experience. I'm only speaking from firsthand experience, and I'm not speaking from someone as that culture. I will tell you that if this question makes sense to you, and if it does, you're gonna know. Um, you will need to find a holy person from your local tribe, the closest Native American tribe to you. You will need to find a holy person that is part of their community, and you need to ask them for help, but you need to do so respectfully, right? The person that asked this question asked it's not really a question, it's a name of a kind of being. And this is the reason I'm being cryptic is if you say the name of this being, you can call them out just by naming the type of being. So it's not an angel, but an example is if I were to say, like, I love angels, right? Or angels are my favorite. That's drawing angel energy towards me, right? Similar thought process, but native cultures, indigenous cultures remind us that when we are speaking of these beings, they come forward. It is a call to them. So I'm not going to speak the name of this question. I'm not going to speak the name of this being. If it's supposed to make sense to you, it will. Go Google it, but do not speak it. Do not do not engage with them. Do not talk to them. We have more questions. I can feel them coming about like baneful entities today. I will look at that. But this is a specific type of baneful entity. Someone asks, what are they? So this particular kind of entity, they are something that, from what I understand, they are seen as witches in their culture or witch-like beings in their culture that can shapeshift. They're shapeshifters. So what the kind of species of this being, these kind of things, what they do is they can change the way that they look. They do typically have, when I have seen them speaking firsthand, when I have seen them, they do typically have a very, very uniform look. And I don't know if that's spirit being really clear with me about what they are, or if that is just the way that they happen to occur to me. I'm not exactly sure. But what they are beings that are baneful. They are not good. Some indigenous cultures, they come from the Navajo culture, and some people have documented that there's belief that someone human passes, and in order to become this kind of negative, baneful being, they have to do something really heinous, something I won't say out loud because we'll get banned, but something really bad. And if they do that, they may become this type of being. Some indigenous researchers, some indigenous authors have stated that it's not a situation where someone passes and they have the opportunity. These things have kind of always existed, and they don't die, they don't get uncreated, they don't get destroyed, which is true. I have never seen one be destroyed. I've seen one be defended against, I've seen someone be protected against these. I've never seen them be destroyed. So important things to know before you go messing. Um, there's I say that to tell you there's some differences of opinion, neither of which are mine, about how they came to be. I don't know enough to know that. What I do know is from my firsthand, and that's that I see them in very similar aesthetic fashion. When I see them, I'll give you a description of them, without using their name. So when I see them, they're typically really tall. They feel masculine to me, but they don't really have a gender. They're like angels, they're genderless beings. But they feel They feel dudeish to me. They're very, 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 very tall when I see them. Very lanky when I see them. And when I see them, they're sort of like a pale gray brown. If you've seen a cadaver, that kind of like pale gray blue brown, kind of like translucenty, but not sort of like that. Gross, but that's what they look like. Um, it is commonly believed by indigenous folks that this type of being can shapeshift into whatever. So they can show up as animals, they can show up as people, they can show up as mimics, they can show up as all different kinds of things, not just the way that I happen to see them. Again, I only know from firsthand experience, and I'm only willing to speak from that on this because I don't talk about cultures that aren't mine. So that's what I know from firsthand experience. How do we handle them? We don't. We call a holy person from your closest tribe. Wherever you, so if this is you, like I know the person I'm talking to, obviously, but if you're watching this and you're like, hey, I might be dealing with this, I think I know what you're talking about. Cool, don't say it, because then you will be dealing with it, right? And number two, I want you to research the indigenous communities around you. Just that's respectful. You need to know whose land you're on. Okay. And B, you're not going to be able to fix this with a priest. You're not going to be able to fix this with an exorcism. You're not going to be able to fix this with holy water. You're not going to be able to fix this with a witch. You're not going to be able to fix this with a curandera. You're not like, I am telling you for this thing, this is just one of those things. Like you go to a priest for an exorcism, you need to go to an indigenous tribe's holy person. They might use the word shaman, they might not. Different areas do that differently. But their holy person, you need to ask them for help and develop a relationship, right? The person that asked this has gone through semesters, so they know our 3 R's at Haven. My school for witches, our school for witches, I teach the 3 R's are reciprocity, respect, and relationship. So you need to be respectful of the culture, whether or not that's yours. If it's open, great. If it's closed, great. If it's syncretic, great. You need to know, right? We need to be respectful when we speak about cultures that aren't ours, even if we're just appreciating them, we need to be respectful, right? It's okay to not like something. I don't like pineapple on my pizza, right? We can still be respectful, okay? And that's a really small and significant example, okay, of culture. Um, we need to have relationship. You need to know where the things that you're seeing came from. You need to know where, like in this instance, we know that it's indigenous. You need to have a relationship with that tribe in order to get help. But also, see that there's an energetic exchange there, right? You need to pay them for help, right? They're providing you a service. You need to make sure that there's compensation, right? If this is you going to that holy person, please don't expect, like so many people do this with spiritual people, please don't expect that they're just going to work for free, right? This is a service that they're providing, skills that they have developed and likely been taught for generations and generations and generations. They deserve to be compensated for that. So relationship is important and reciprocity is part of that too with the money piece, but there's got to be some sort of energetic exchange there. Relationship means you have to care about where it's coming from. You need to be kind in how you speak about it. You need to be aware of where your boundaries are, right? And respect means you need to speak about it kindly and come correct, honestly. You're asking for help and you need them. So like be nice. Because I couldn't help you. If someone came to me and had this going on and I was sure that that's what this was, I would be referring you out to your local indigenous community. So find out what that is. You can find out by Googling that, easy to research, and then get connected with them and just do not say it. Do not say it when you speak of it. Say, I'm dealing with something that is negative. Here's the effects that I'm seeing. Here's the experiences that I've had, but do not say, if you know the name of this, do not say it. If you think you know the name, do not say it. Do not say it. Okay? That's not only is that just not a good idea, It's disrespectful. Okay. Um, should we be afraid of them? Yes. Yes. Are they capable? Yes. Are they powerful? Absolutely. 100%. Um, do you still have free will? Yes. That does not mean things are easy to get rid of. And like I said, I have never firsthand seen one of these be destroyed. People that I was with when I was training around this many, many years ago, none of them in their careers had ever seen something like this be destroyed. Just really, really well protected against. So I'm not going to be more specific than that on what this is. If you were supposed to know, you'll know. If you're at Haven, you can go find out in Discord. Um, if you're not supposed to know, then you will. Moving on. This says sleep paralysis. If you are having sleep paralysis, how do you know if it's an entity? And how do you protect yourself? What if it's paired with disturbing possession related dreams? Okay. Didn't I tell you we'd have more baneful stuff today? More baneful entity stuff? I fucking knew it. Knew it. Okay. So this person is a almost a semester grad, just for context. Um, if you're having sleep paralysis, how do you know if it's an entity and how do you protect yourself? So first of all, I would ask you, and you don't have to answer this, I don't know if you're on right now. But if this is like relevant to you, if you're watching this, you're like, what are the dreams that you're having? Are they recurring and what are you seeing, right? We've talked, in fact, yesterday at class, we talked a little bit about the things that you might see if you have negative presence around you. Best way to know if you have negative presence around you is, are you negative? Are you negative? Now I know you and I know you're not. So that's the easiest first way to tell. Are you consumed with negativity? Because what you bring, what you feel, you'll bring, right? That's what's attracted to you. The more negative people are the ones that have shit attracted to them 85% of the time. Okay. There's a little bit of stuff that's just residual. There's stuff that's just baneful and trickster and like the things we just talked about that just exist to just create chaos because that's their dharma. That's what they're here to do. Those things do exist and they do attach to things and people for no reason. So don't hear that that doesn't happen because it absolutely does. But I would say first, how do you know if you have an entity attachment? Are you negative all the time? Are you consumed with negativity? Do you constantly have negativity around you? Are you constantly arguing with everybody or always in one spot, no matter who's there, no matter every time you have friends over? People at your house seem to argue. You and your partner argue, your kids argue, you and your partner's kids argue, your partner argues with everybody that drops off delivery food at the door. Like it's just every conversation is it's that spot, right? It doesn't matter who's there. Or maybe it's everyone that you talk to is going through the same vein of thing, right? That shows you how energy moves. It also shows you how energy stagnates. So think about the energy that you're in. And good thing about the energy is that we can move it. If you're not in a space where you're feeling very positive, you can focus on gratitude, go get some sunshine, take a shower, snuggle a pet, go outside, right? Do something to change your state. Bring that positivity towards you. That'll help ward off a lot of just the erroneous bullshit. Okay. Um, if if you are having dreams where you are seeing consistent characters, you're having recurring nightmares, you are having things that are not anything your brain would conjure. They're not from a scene from a movie that you saw that scared you. They're not a composite of things that you lived through the day. They're not um they're not wildly varied. If you have nightmares every night and they're all different, that's something else. If you have nightmares over and over and they're the same nightmare or they're the same character every time in a different nightmare. So you have the same scary werewolf, you have the same Dementor looking shadow person, you have the same, I don't know, whatever. You have the same baneful, icky thing, right? Gremlin, right? That's in your dream, and you're watching this gremlin do all these bad things in all these different places. That is more like what I'm talking about. If it's a different dream with different characters every time, I would say that there's probably something else going on. Sleep paralysis, though, yeah, if you're having the same consistent character and the same dream and or the same dream, that's a strong mark of sleep paralysis. Not the only mark, but a strong mark, being that it's an entity. The second thing that I would say to look at if it's an entity is, did it try to talk to you? I'm not asking if you talked to it because you know better than that. You know not to talk to it. But did it try to communicate? And then I would ask you, excuse me, how did it try to communicate? Did it speak to you? Did it just like almost telepathically like zap it to you? Did you just know? How did you conceptualize and understand in the dream what was happening? Tell me about where your brain is. Because if you had this dream a lot or you know this thing a lot, you can typically someone can tell me, right? Like, oh, here's what it looks like. I know exactly what it looks like. Or I know that here's the scene. It does this, and then we do this, and then I see this, and then this happens. It's very, very consistent. That is something the way that it speaks to you is important. So I would look at that. If it's something that talks to you with its mouth and is having a conversation like you see me having with you right now, that is less likely an entity. Typically, entities speak to you telepathically. They speak without having to move their mouths because they don't need these, right? They're really good at that. That's their default method of communication. And so that's why we don't see those a lot. Your guides will put that on there on themselves when they show themselves to you because they want to be comfortable and familiar. Baneful entities don't give a shit about that. They just need a form so that you can be perceptive of them. So look at the way that they try to communicate. If they tried to communicate with you, just look at that. And then what happens when you are looking at numbers or text in the dream? One of the things that I teach people when I go through stuff we're going to learn in Awakening, the upcoming intuitive development program, that's open for enrollment right now. One of the things that I teach in remote viewing, which is a big component of the Awakening program, is that if you can be somewhere and you can read the text or the numbers inside your vision, whether that vision is you being conscious and meditating and going to a visualization of a place, or it's you you know in a hypnosis situation, or you in therapy, or you in EMDR, right? Or you consciously remote viewing. If you do that consciously, you can read the text that's in there. Go to your friend's house in your mind, look at their bookshelf, and read the spine of a book. If you can read it, it's because you're consciously doing it, right? So when you are in a sleep paralysis, you're not conscious. What sleep paralysis is an entity attaching itself to you while you have your defenses lowered. This is why we cleanse and protect, right? So if you found yourself in the situation or you're wondering what the fuck is happening, right? I would ask you at that moment where you're waking up, did you notice that you could read something or that you were trying to read something and you couldn't? Because I would bet that if the next time you're in sleep paralysis, actual sleep paralysis, if you try to look at something written, numbers or typically I look for numbers because they're easier to recognize in my brain than letters, but look for numbers or letters. And if you can't read them, your brain wakes up and goes, "Oh, this is not me. This is super conscious. This is subconscious." And at that point, when your brain realizes it is not you controlling it and you are afraid, you will wake up. Your body has to. That's how it works. That's why you come out of it. So that's why I say when you're replaying the dream, look backwards at what happened right before you woke up. Because it takes a lot of awareness to be in that dream and like look out at, through the demon at the poster on your wall and see if you can read it. You might not be able to, like, very few people on the planet have those skills, okay? But if you can look back at your dream after you wake up out of your nightmare, after you've processed it a little bit and go, okay, right before I woke up, what happened? Or if I have it all the time, right before I wake up, what happens? It's always something happens when I wake up. If you look at that moment, right, you will oftentimes see that you were trying to read something or look at something and you caught yourself and you woke yourself up. Now there's a whole other side to this, right? Of the the emotional upheaval that this disturbance, this dream can cause. I think ultimately, regardless of if you have an entity or not, cleansing, if you're having recurring nightmares, cleansing before you sleep is really important. Cleanse your space before you sleep and then use something protective and good for insomnia, like lavender. Research your herbs always, right? But lavender is generally regarded as safe. Put some lavender buds, some organic lavender buds in some grain alcohol or in some glycerin if you have a alcohol-free household for whatever reason, and make a lavender tincture, make a lavender room spray, make a lavender floor wash, make lavender simple syrup for cocktails. If you're gonna do, an alcoholic tincture, you could do simple syrup and you could put simple syrup on anything, right? Do lavender maple syrup for your pancakes, delicious. But thinking about the evening, right? If you're gonna have a wind down, um, like a wind down tea, put some lavender tincture in it, right? Let yourself be protected inward, and also it'll help you sleep. If you're going to do like a room spray, that's good for clearing and also protecting. Lavender is really wonderful for that, and it'll also knock you out. I would not recommend things like mugwort in it. I would not recommend things like what else? Don't do mugwort, don't do blue lotus. Other herbs that are good for sleep, like those will make you hallucinate, and I don't mean in the fun way. If you're already having bad dreams, just stick to lavender. Lavender won't do that to you, especially if you have it external. There's a higher chance of it being psychically connective in a way that you might not be ready for if you take it internally. But externally, it's pretty safe. You can do like a room spray or a floor wash or put it in your shower gel when you're taking a shower before bed. Love that. And support yourself to have really healthy sleep. Because disturbing dreams are, whether or not they're an entity, that's a drain on you, like just in life anyway. So I hope that gets better. And if you're having sleep paralysis and you don't know what to do or you don't know how to cleanse or how to protect, you need to come this semester in January. Come hang out with us and learn what all of my people who are about to graduate are learning. We're about to graduate our 80th initiate, you guys. I'm peeing myself. I'm so excited. Also, can you see that my cat got me the other day? You guys, our herb, can you see that? It's scarring. Our herb for the month at Haven, if you get the Haven emails, you'll be able to see this. Our herb for the month, our herbal feature is calendula. And calendula is wonderful for skin regeneration, skin repair. Um, really great for like any sort of wounds, any sort of like bug bites, rashes, eczema, as long as it's not bleeding, things like that. Um, and as soon as Rocco sliced, it was an accident. He also got me here. Can you see it? Uh, I went for the calendula because it was our featured herb this month, and I ended up releasing like, I don't know, 15 page or whatever document on calendula earlier this month, and I had spent so much time prepping it, I knew to reach for it, and it's healing really well. So I've taken pictures throughout the healing process. I'll put them in Discord once it's done so we can see. I should have done like half with it, half without it, but next time I get hurt, we'll do that. But wild how your schoolwork will show up in your real life, right? I caught myself with it in the camera and wanted to see if you guys could see it. All right, let's go to the next one. Spiritual experience. This person is a council grad and is in semester, about to graduate. And they say, I saw this post just now, and I'm so curious if what this person is saying is true. Okay, this is the post that this witch, our Haven witch, put up. is not from Haven, just to be clear. And it says, do not share your spiritual experiences with people. It takes the sacredness away almost immediately. So instead of this being the way that it could sound, right? We're gonna hold this in unconditional positive regard because we don't know the intentions of the app creator, right? My biological parents were actually app creators. They had an app company for a really long time. I will tell you from experience that a lot of app companies don't give a shit what they put into their into their notifications. I would be surprised if AI is not the one writing a lot of the notifications that are coming out of your apps in present day. That's not to say that Spirit can't use them, right? But what I am saying is that we don't know the intention of the person that created it. So what it sounds like is someone being like dogmatic, right? Do not share your spiritual experiences with people. It takes the sacredness. It sounds like someone's like telling you, forcefully what to do, which is cute. Um, so instead of saying like that's wrong, because if you were gonna make that blanket statement, I would question it. Instead of saying that that's what their intention is, let's hold them in some positive regard. Let's imagine that they're talking about the necessary parts of life where we have to integrate alone, right? There are some things, and I think knowing who you are, you know this, there are some things that we just have to walk by ourselves. There are some things that we just have to learn ourselves. This is true of our kids too, right? You and I talked about parenting recently. When you have to watch your kid walk through something really hard and you know that the only way that they're gonna learn it is to have to walk through it and process that, you can be on their sidelines, right? But they're going to have to do it themselves. Part of that is owning the experience. It's hard to own things, if we're not used to it, but it's also hard to own things and have it feel like it's ours if we're constantly all the time with other people. I am hella extroverted. I still need my time alone. If I never had time alone, I would have to look at that because the folks that the folks that are constantly busy or um constantly how do I want to say this? Constantly like ungrounded is really what it feels like. Those people don't have space to hear the spiritual experiences typically anyway, right? They're of their up for themselves. They're so go, 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 that their life is loud and they don't get quiet. So I think more than what this looks like on surface level, I think what they're talking about here is the necessary integration that happens when life needs to get quiet. When you realize how loud life is, when you have that moment of being that person that's go, 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 and you go, oh my God, my life is so loud. That My stress is so loud. My spirit guides are so loud. You get quiet. When you realize how chaotic the outside is, you can go to your safe space, whether that's in your zip up suit, right? Whether that's in your dome, whether that's in your house, whatever, your car, maybe it's really 3D. Get in your space and you just get to be for a second. You just get to be for a second. Realize how loud the outside world is. That moment is really sacred. And so if you were immediately going to rush to share that, yes, could you take yourself out of a sacred moment? Yeah, for sure. I don't think it's all one way or the other. We need a balance. I do think that no one really strikes it at 50-50 of sharing versus keeping shit private. Y'all know from Haven lens, I'm a pretty private person. Like for as much as I post on the internet, I'm a pretty private person. Like you might have, tons of URLs, tons of ways to find me, tons of hours and hours and hours and hours of audio of me talking or video of my face or whatever because I'm on the internet. But as far as like personal shit, I'm a pretty private person. there also is a real magic in connection, right? If I didn't connect as much as I do, if I wasn't as naturally extroverted as I am, I would have a hard time experiencing the fullness of life. So I think there needs to be both, but sharing immediately is not necessary. We have a lot of witches get so excited, and it's a hard line to walk, right? Because we get so excited when we hear from spirit that the next thing we want to do is put it on social. The next thing we want to do is put it somewhere to be witnessed, wherever that is. And if we are too quick to do that, we don't know if spirit had more to say, because by doing that, what happens when you pull out your phone? Oh my gosh, I got this confirmation from spirit. Post. Guess what you're doing? And spirit's like, we weren't done. Guess I'll catch you later. Right? You can get yourself maybe, likely, more messages if you held that desire to post, if you held that desire to share just a little bit. And that's not for you. I think you're probably someone who is good at being mindful of how they post because you were in council. A bigger kind of thread along the same line is something that Spirit's been talking to me about for weeks. You guys know that at Haven. You cannot post live workings on social media. A lot of people post spells that they're doing as they're doing them. Look at this candle that's burning. I'm doing this jar and I made it and I want the whole world to see it. This is different than posting it at Haven. That's totally kosher because you have hella protected. But I can guarantee you, mark my words, if you have ever seen spell work on my page, it is months old. Months. Or it is a worded picture that has words all over it. But typically, it's spells that have been long complete. So I can tell you how they ended up. I do that for a lot of reasons. Number one, that space is sacred. I don't want anybody peeking in on my spell work, y'all or otherwise, right? Unless we're doing it together. That's my circle. That's my dome. That's my space, right? I don't want you there. I love you, but I don't want you there. That's my space. So if I wouldn't have had that time to do that and then integrate and document and write all the things down, I couldn't then come to you and go, hey, check all this out. I would have cheated myself out of a huge part of that process where I got to sit with it and watch and learn what it had to teach me, right? Every spell I teach you guys is one that I've done a ton of times. And that's because I've had to learn things about myself through those spells. I've had to try them and fail them and learn the things that, okay, well, that could have worked better. I could have done this better. We fine tune it, and then I get to teach it to you guys so you're light years ahead. Part of that process that y'all don't get to see is the before, which is me not sharing with you until it's time to share with you. So I think there's validity in what this is saying. It sounds a lot more like menacing. Don't do this. You're gonna take away the sacred. No, you won't. Even if you went and shared it, would you take all the sacredness away? No, of course not. But would you potentially miss out on a lot of messages from spirit? Yeah. Would you miss out on lessons for yourself? Yeah. Would you miss out on growing your ability to sit and focus and have attention, which is the number one thing people mess up and have trouble with when they're trying to learn how to talk to spirit? Give yourself time. Don't rush out of it to go document. Nobody needs to know. Nobody needs to know. And if they need to know, they don't need to know right now. Take time. Good question. All right, this next one. See, we got a few minutes. Well, we have two questions left. Perfect. You guys, we always do such a good time, such a good like estimate of time. I love that. Let's see. How do you know if you have a negative spirit in your space? I fucking called it, you guys. How do you know if you have a negative spirit in your space and the best way to rid yourself of it? I know we discussed this slightly. Okay, so this person is a council member This person is 3 classes out from being a semester grad. Woo-woo. Um, how do you know if you have a negative spirit in your space? Because you have, specifically to this person, because you have council notes, go back to your entity ID, look at week 2, your entity ID notes, and I would look at the hallmarks of what you're seeing and then use that chart to navigate. That's what I would do for this specific person. If you're watching this and you're like, I don't know what the fuck that means, that's cool. We'll get deeper. But to answer their question really fast, that's what I would do. How do you know if you have a negative spirit in your space? Number one, like I said before, are you negative? Are you negative all the time? If you have a problem with being negative all the time, and I don't mean like that might not be chosen, right? Like you might wake up one day and realize you have been negative. You might not be actively choosing to be negative. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we just want to be curmudgeons. That's fine. I told Phil today, I'm like, I'm feeling spicy today. Like, you guys, if you watch the 13-minute video I put on Facebook, Spirit gave every single one of the people that are supposed to do that talking to. And since then, I've been spicy. Okay to have that. But sometimes we have this moment where again, we wake up and we go, oh shit, I've been really negative. I notice we're always fighting. I notice every conversation I have with all these people, even in different environments, I'm finding myself in arguments. People I don't even know, the checkout person at Starbucks, the barista at Starbucks. We got in an argument? Who does that? Right? Like, if you're noticing that, it's just like a cloud that's following you, right? That would be something I would look at first and foremost. Second, if you are getting any sort of like going from most inside your body to least inside your body, okay? Or most inside to most outside. So first we have like interoception. How are you feeling inside your body? Do you have pharmaceuticals that you are taking? Do you have brain chemistry that is needing to be adjusted? Like, these are not shame topics. I am a huge proponent of medication. I am on Wellbutrin. I'm on Vyvanse. Okay, hear me say this. Huge, huge advocate for taking mental health seriously. Huge advocate for getting qualified, licensed therapeutic support, which this is not that, right? So I'm speaking from my experience. But to give you insight, fully okay with medication. So first of all, look at your body. Is your brain balanced? Do you need brain support? Because no matter what happens, if we're in this body and our soul's trying to connect, we got to work within the confines of this body, right? So if the negativity is coming because your brain as an organ needs some support, give it the support, friend. Same thing that you would do with a heart or a broken arm or your liver or your kidneys. You give your brain the support, right? Like that's as simple as it is. We don't need to attach any bullshit to it or morality to it. You're helping your organ function in the way that it's optimal. That's all, like normal. So honor your need for meds, get really good support, go to therapy if you need it. Okay. Check, check, check. Those things are good. So how do you feel inside you? If those things are fine and you still feel icky, look outside your body at your circumstances, direct circumstances. Where do you live? Who are you married to? Who do you spend time talking to every day? So I would look at that. Where do you live? And I mean like land, like the land that your house is on, but also like your neighbors. If you have neighbors next door that are constantly disrespectful, constantly slamming doors, that's going to breed negativity, right? If you have a shitty landlord or you live with a shitty HOA that's always up your ass about your shrubs or your 12-foot skeleton, that's going to breed negativity, right? We don't want that. So just pay attention to like what's around you and your surroundings. If your work team is full of negative Nancy's and everybody complains at work all the time and it's just a shit throwing fest, look at that. Okay, like your surroundings. Where do you spend a lot of your time? And really, if you have trouble, like because you do a lot of things, you're in a lot of places, who are the 5 people that you talk to the most during the day other than yourself? 5 most human people. I'm not talking about your guides, they don't count for this. Human people other than yourself. Probably a spouse, probably 1, 2, maybe more kids, depending upon who's watching this. Person that asks, you've got a gaggle of children, so lots of kids, probably kids' friends, maybe you've got extended family, friends out of state, etc. You got lots of people. Look at those people and look at the conversations that you're having and the connections that you're bringing. If you notice, we are still not at entities. We are still not at your neighborhood. We are at you and the people you surround yourself with. Okay, so like a lot of people come to me and they're like, I'm cursed. I have a demon. Sometimes that's true. Not gonna lie to you. But most of the time they realize, wow, I'm in that toxic work environment and my boss is a misogynist and I'm there 60 hours a week. And then I come home to a partner who's also exhausted from working and we have no bandwidth to like have fun or play together. No fucking wonder you're depressed, baby. Like, no wonder you're not having any fun. That's not a demon. That's like capitalism. That's your nervous system needing attention. That's probably, you know, alarmingly, that's probably because the world is how it is right now, right? We really need to be supportive of each other instead of fighting about a bunch of shit. But I'm gonna get on a soapbox. The reason why a lot of people come to me thinking that they're cursed is because they have toxic circumstances or friends or family that they're tolerating. Knowing who I'm talking to, you are expert level at recognizing toxicity and giving it the middle finger. Okay, so that's not your problem. But we love that. That's a good skill. That takes healing, right? The healing of it is safe to recognize mistreatment, and I'm using that instead of the A word because I'll get banned. It is safe to recognize mistreatment. That's healing. To be able to look at mistreatment and go, I deserve more than that. That takes wise judgment. Okay, like that's not a bad thing to call behavior that's unsafe out. Okay, so look at the people around you. Okay, if it's not them and you're noticing that they're not wildly negative, it's not constant conversations about the same negative shit, right? And I don't mean like, yes, can happen, you vent to your friends, that's normal for a period. But if it's been 3, 4 months, or if your friends, it's been 4 weeks of you bitching about the same thing and your friends are not like, what are you doing about it? I hear you, and what are you doing? You need better friends. You need better friends. Um, those conversations that linger will bring negativity. So look at those layers, okay? If you're seeing signs of entities, okay, zooming all the way out now to like way outside your body, something completely else that's from the ether, you would notice sensory cues first because your body is going to pick it up, the energy signature of whatever that thing is, baneful or not, before your mind does. Your body is your antenna. So it's going to pull in information from your environment before your mind. Even if you have PTSD, even if you have um, severe mental illness, if you have disabilities, your body is the sensate. It will figure out what's going on in your environment before your mind will catch up to it. So I tell you that because those are the ways that you're going to notice it first. You're going to notice it in cold spots. You're going to notice it in feeling like you walked through cobwebs, but when you do this, there's nothing, right? You know what it felt like. You know what it feels like to walk through a cobweb. You wouldn't mistake that, right? That's an ick feeling across, big landscape of your face, and then you touch it and there's nothing, there's no residue. You turn around, there's nothing hanging, right? That's a big one. Um, that's more sensation, right? That's a tactile thing. Uh, Seeing things out of the corner of your eye. And I don't mean we talked last night about light and white, right? Because light is information. The darkness hides shit. It is where tricksters live, right? It's where chaos lives because it likes to keep things hidden. That's how it works down there. That's how it's supposed to be down there because we need contrast. Light is information. This is why when we look at point three, we have to shine light on what's passive, what's in the dark, so we can get the information, so we can look at it, so we can have what we want at point six. If that didn't make sense to you, just ignore it. What I'm saying is you have to look at really clearly the sensations that you're getting. If you're getting visual sensations, you need to make sure that they're not light. You need to make sure that if you're looking for negative, is it negative? It needs to not be light. It needs to not be gold. It needs to be dark. It needs to feel empty. It needs to look, sometimes it looks like blackness. Sometimes it looks opaque. Um, I have a close confidant to me that sees things that look like black construction paper cutouts of people, like they look 2D almost. Um, Typically, I don't see deceased people that way. I see entities that way. So interesting. Some entities that way. Um, Look at the things that you see. They need to not be light, happy, vibrant, sunshine, unicorn, rainbow feeling. Okay, that's what I mean by light versus darkness. You know what feels like Lisa Frank. You know what feels like Edgar Allan Poe. Okay. It doesn't feel like unicorns and rainbows. It feels like darkness. It feels like fear. It feels like um, terror. It's very hard to mistake. Very hard to mistake. Um, then I mean, other sensory cues, smells, depending on what you smell. Garbage is a signature of a very specific kind of being. If you look at your week 2 notes to this specific person, you can find out what that is. If you smell sulfur, that's a separate kind of being. You also have that in your notes. Um, if you, let's see, we did touch, see, smell. I don't really taste things with entities. That might just be a me thing. Normally, if I taste something, it'd be like if I taste blood, and that's more a medium thing. That's more like evidentiary me or a physical medium thing. Where I'm feeling the way someone passed or I'm feeling an accident, something like that. I don't really have taste sensation with entities. I'm grateful for that. Um, what's the other one? Yeah, I mean, I guess touch is kind of the same thing. I guess touch is kind of the same thing with like cold spots, hot spots that we talked about with like the kava. But yeah, those kind of things. Um, that would be negative spirit. If we're talking like severe, right? Breaking glass, breaking consistently, not a broken glass every day for 2 weeks straight. That's a fucking problem. Okay. Um, if you have your alarms, your ring alarms going off 2, 3, 4 nights, and you look and review footage and there's nothing there, that's something to look at. If you if you see cabinet doors open, for some reason everybody fucking loves cabinets. I don't know why. I don't know why. Cabinets and slamming books. They literally will like I've seen them slam so many freaking books. Ghosts or spirits or entities. Hilarious. Yeah. Ridiculous. They like making noise. And then I mean, you do have like non-baneful guides that will also do the same thing, right? Like your joy guides will put a kind of song on the radio for you to listen to. They will put. I was walking down an aisle in a Barnes and Noble in a bookstore, if you don't know what that is, and my guides knocked a book off of the shelf in front of me for me to go. Literally flew off the shelf and thunk on the floor 20 feet in front of me. No one else was in the aisle. The shelves didn't connect in the middle. There was no way somebody from the other side, like I can hear y'all. There's no way somebody from the other side could have pushed it. No one was around, flew off the shelf and landed right at my feet. And it's a great book. It's actually the book that I used for bibliomancy in class the other day. That's funny. Good book. I love it. So guides of all kinds can manipulate the physical, but if you're seeing those specific things like cabinets slamming, glass breaking, mirrors breaking, your amulets and crystals consistently breaking, like you weren't doing anything crazy, you're holding it in your hand and it splits, or you show up in a room and your crystal split and it's not a cat, a dog, a kid, that's something to be really aware of. Somebody commented and said crystals always break. If they're breaking when you're holding them and transmuting and programming, that's a you have a lot of energy, which the person that just asked that in the chat, that would be true. I could see you doing that. If they're doing it when you're not touching them, encountering them, holding them, then yeah, I would for sure cleanse them like really well. But if it's only when you're holding them, that's a you thing. Then I would program them without holding them because that's just a you not knowing how powerful you are. If they only ever break in your hand, Yeah, holding and wearing. That's not a baneful thing. That's a you not spirits laughing at you. Like your guides are not laughing at you, but they're like, "Do you not see how powerful you are?" Like the person that I'm seeing in the comments right now, your entire guide team is here going, "Hmm, you like to say that you're not powerful. Girl, be so for real right now. You're breaking crystals every time you wear them. They're like, hello. Yeah, that's you being powerful, Billy. They're like, do you not know? That's so funny. Your team is hilarious. Yeah, I think you know. I think you probably play it cool a little bit. But yeah, the reason why your crystals break when you hold them is because you're not aware of how much power you hold and you're putting into them. Good for you for holding strong intention. We love that. We love a clear channel. Okay, so yeah, how do you know if you have a negative spirit? Best way to rid yourself of it, all that to say. If you have a spirit, you have to know what it is to know how it needs to be removed. We talked about that earlier with the thing that I won't name. If you have something and you can't figure out what it is and you're a student of mine, message me, whether or not you've taken cancel. If you're not a student, you need to email me. Or you can do research, right? Do research. Do not use AI for this. It's not reliable. Okay. But find like parapsychology, look at textbooks, look at the occult textbooks. You might find some things you don't like. But see if you can research it that way or just email me. It's gonna be way easier to just email me. Now I don't know, I can find somebody who can. I can point you in the right direction for sure. Um, how to get rid of it depends on what it is, right? I gave you a few examples earlier without knowing that this question existed. If you have a demon in your house that you did not want and did not want to work with, then you need a priest to give an exorcism or a witch to give an exorcism, depending on the kind of demon, the level of demon, and the honestly the background of the witch. I've performed exorcisms of people and of property. But I'm not a typical witch. So not every witch can do that. Hear me say that. Um, I've had a lot of training with the Catholic Church around that. And that's where my family came from. So like that sect of things is where my family came from. So I'm not a typical witch, but some witches can. If you had something like what we talked about before, you'd need someone who's a Native American or Indigenous holy person. If you're working with, sometimes I see clients that have like Latin American curses on them. You gotta go to curandera. You gotta go to some sort of holy person. I can usually tell the culture because of the magic. I know where like general usually I can get like country intuitively. I can get the country where it's from or the culture where it's from. And then it's just a matter of directing that person to someone who has the ability to practice that kind of magic or has the rights to practice that kind of magic or has the training to practice that kind of magic. Some people really love weather magic. They want to send storms to their enemies. I suck at weather magic. I suck at it. If you want weather magic, please don't call me. Okay. Not right now, at least. I need more practice. I'm not your girl for weather magic. So if you come to me and you're like, hey, I want to practice this, I will lovingly refer you to someone who can teach weather magic, who's really great at it, and who I call when I need weather magic help. Like that's how it works. Just because there's a entity in your house doesn't mean that the average holy person like that's a blank slate would know how to handle it. Just because you have a psychic doesn't mean that that's what you'd need, especially if we're talking baneful. You need a specific sort of cleansing per the type of entity that's there. um, some entities can't be destroyed. Some entities can, depends on the kind, depends on if they were human created, like if they're a PK manifestation, which can get as severe as like causing severe bodily harm. A PK manifestation can unalive somebody, like, and that's created from negativity brewing around a human. So, like, same thing back to the sleep token question. Can energy create a movement? Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. The best way to rid yourself of things like that is to know what you're dealing with. A, don't interact. Don't interact. B, know what you're dealing with. If you have signs, dreams, research, sensate things that you're experiencing, tell me or research them, whatever. and then find the appropriate channel to get that removed, depending upon what it is. There's a basic framework, but it's going to depend on what it is. And based on the signs that I gave you, you can pretty much figure out what it is. If it's still not clear, to this specific person, you can message me or put it in the comments. That's fine. In the Discord comments, because I'll move to the next question. But yeah, we can talk about it. If you're having specific instances, we can for sure go through that. Next question says, is Appalachian folk magic a closed practice? Do you know about it? So this person is a council grad and about to be a semester grad. 3 classes. Woo-hoo. So I will give you the most respectful answer possible. I am scared as fuck of Appalachian witches. Why is that? Because I'm scared of witches that are formidable opponents, right? Anybody would be. Duh. Like, we're scared in a respectful way, scared and awed in a respectful way, right? That's just a reverence of someone's power. It's a respect of someone's power. I, as a witch who's been around the block, am someone who admires how closely guarded Appalachian witchcraft is. I love how much they protect their culture. Very similarly to the hoodoo roots, which is not the same as voodoo, Voodoo, which is not the same as voodoo, Voudou. Okay, they're all different. Hoodoo root work, this person that I'm speaking this to, I'm not educating them. They would be educating me on this. But for the greater public, okay, hoodoo root work is an example of a closed practice. Okay, that's something that I wouldn't advise somebody on if they came and said, hey, I need a hoodoo spell for blah, blah, blah. Even though my ancestral roots came through hoodoo, I still would not speak from a hoodoo perspective and say, oh, here's what hoodoo says. I would say, here's what I know. Here's what I was taught firsthand. Here's what I learned, and I can trace that back to the person in my lineage 4 generations back that disseminated it, started having experiences and dripping that through our family. What I will say is that for Appalachian magic, it is so protected that for a witch like me that has seen a lot and has been around the block a lot, I don't think I have seen a modern day, and I'm not saying that Appalachian witchcraft is modern day. I'm saying in my firsthand experience, which is 40, better part of 30, almost 40 years. I'm trying to like stretch that out. I have never seen, I don't think I've ever seen a practice that protected, as protected. Hoodoo is very protected. Voodoo is pretty protected. But Appalachian craft is pretty protected. Um, I have a mad respect for any sort of vein of witchcraft that honors the land, specifically where it came from. I really, really admire indigenous magic. I'm a smidge Choctaw, I'm a smidge Cherokee, and I'm a smidge Chickasaw. So I have a little bit, little bit of indigenous lineage. And because of that, I did research as a kid and as a teen and a young adult into those groups of people. And it was really, really rewarding to learn and rewarding and heartbreaking and all of the feelings, right? But rich history, getting to know the details, even the really, really hard to swallow ones, even the really awful ones. When we give respect to that culture, we have to look at all of it, not just the good parts, right? Lord knows we're trying to erase history right now. We don't need to do that. Look at the parts that are bad that have happened and learn from them, right? So when I look at the ways that other cultures have not protected their craft as well as Appalachian witches have, when I look at cultures that are less demanding of respect from others and from the earth, they don't do as well, right? They get diluted. They get put on witch talk. Like, sorry, but that's what happens. And that's why shit doesn't work. And then people like me get really frustrated because structure is really important. And all these new witches come to TikTok and they're like, I just want to learn all the things. There's a respect that has to happen first. I get wanting to be excited, but we have to take it to respect. And Appalachian witchcraft specifically respects the land so much that they have commanded the respect of other witches who have been around the block, but I mean, widely regarded. Appalachian witches are something to be feared. Like I mean, Appalachia land is something to be feared. If you live there, you have to deal with that. If you live there, you're a product of your environment. You gotta like that's kind of what I was saying about my lineage, right? I do the shit that I do because that's how I grew up. I didn't choose this. I had the experiences that I had growing up. Yes, okay, like planning destination wise, yes. Did I choose this life path? Yeah. But would I have chosen it the way that it went down? Well, no, of course not, right? Living here in this moment, human me is like, why did I choose this, right? Because sometimes it's really shitty, sometimes it's really hard. Walking through those hard moments, though, builds character. And I feel like for me, a way to give gratitude and efficacy to the things that I walked is to teach the structure. And so for these Appalachian witches, not only are they giving efficacy, are they giving space, are they giving honor and respect to the land, but they're giving respect to the tradition of keeping that secret. And it has happened and happened and happened and happened and happened. So I will say that I admire them. I respect them. As far as if it's a closed practice, for me personally, I would say yes. I being so tied to the land, I have no tie to Appalachia. I have no there is zero need for me to practice Appalachian magic. If I needed Appalachian magic, I would find an Appalachian witch and pay them well to do their work. Because it's just not the kind of magic that I practice. If it's a closed practice for me, I would say yes. But as far as speaking for the practice, you'd have to ask an Appalachian witch. In my experience, would I say that firsthand experience is it feels closed? Yeah. And that's for me likely because of the land. I don't want to be adopting something that's from a land that I'm not from when it has been so fiercely protected, so fiercely guarded. And the witches that are part of that are very, very, very clear on working with that land and having very specific instructions on how to do that because they're there. There, like I said, there wouldn't really be a reason. If there was a reason, I would go there or I would ask somebody from there and have them weigh in on it. Um, as far as if it's a closed practice, you'd have to ask them. But if I had to guess, I would say yes. There's a long answer to your question. Is that it? Yes. All right. Beautiful. Thank you for coming to Q&A, you guys. This was fun. I'm gonna go have more caffeine because I don't think my brain is awake yet. And how wild that we had so many conversations about negative entities today. Maybe that is a little plug for you to come to protection class, okay? Protection class is October 29th. It's 90 minutes long. I'm going to teach you how to make literal physical protections for your home because right now is a time of the season where the veil is thin. What does that mean? That means that the piece of space and time, the fabric. I want you to think of a piece of fabric that separates us from the ether. People like me see through it this way, right? Most people don't even know it's there. I can look through it and see the ether, and the ether can look through it and see me, and that's how I talk to spirit, right? But for most of us, that's a pretty thick piece of fabric, and we don't always know it's there. This time of year, it gets really thin and it gets sheer for everybody. And so that's why you hear from ancestors. That's why it's spooky time of year, right? Samhain is coming up. That's Halloween or All Hallows or All Hallows Eve or All Saints Day, right? The Catholic Church picked October 31st to celebrate All Saints Day. The Catholic Church, for y'all that are like, this is spooky season, it's not of God. The Catholic Church picked All Saints Day. Just sit with that for a little bit. For those of y'all that are watching this and are irritated that I'm a witch, sit with that. I told you guys I'm feeling spicy today. We're doing protection class because the veil's getting thin. And whether or not you think what I do is cool, whether or not you think what I do is kooky, if you've had experiences, I don't need you to believe me. If you've had experiences and you need help, message me. If you've had experiences and you need protection, message me. I will send you a link to our protections class, which is October 29th. It's 90 minutes. If you can't make it live, there is a recording that will be sent to everybody that registers. Come hang out. I will teach you how to protect yourself. You don't have to believe in it to make it work. You can put all the things in the jar and put it together and think it's kooky. It will still work. And I will teach you how to make a ward, which is a protection spell for your home on that class. We're also going to talk about deeper things like this. What can show up, hauntings, how to know if you're haunted, how to know if you're cursed, what to do if you're cursed, ways to protect against curses, way to protect against hexes, way to keep people from coming in your house that aren't supposed to be there, all kinds of fun shit. We're gonna have a great time. Come hang out. I will put a link in the YouTube description below my face so that you can click on it and come to protection class October 29th. If you're watching this and it's not live time, then I'm so sad that you missed it. Maybe I'll have the replay available. Maybe I won't. You have to ask future me because present me doesn't know. All right, you guys, I'm calling it. Thank you for being here. Hopefully, I'll see you at protection class next week. Next Q&A, we're doing everything Samhain themed. Halloween, spooky, Samhain. It's Samhain season. Bring me all of your Samhain things. Samhain prep. If you want to talk about spells, if you want to talk about recipes, you want to talk about history of Samhain, bring me the Samhain questions, the Halloween questions, the witchy turn of the year and harvest questions. And we'll focus on those next week. All right. Love you guys. Thank you for being here.